Palantir. It's heating up. A lot to talk about today. Massive updates. NHS contract, PwC contract, a lot to cover. But first, this video is sponsored by my dad. Yes, I'm getting $0 to say this, but Dad, I love you. My father is currently in the hospital recovering from surgery. So if you don't mind, gently going to the comment section and sending him some positive energy. I'm sure he'd appreciate it from all of the wonderful Palantir community. Don't hit the like button. Don't subscribe. Don't do nothing. Don't even sign up for Stock MVP or my Patreon. Go down to the comments and send your warm wishes to my dad. He'd really appreciate it. Shout out to Papa Nesh. I love you. Let's talk about Palantir. So Palantir, and he's doing fine, by the way. So Palantir, the not-so-real AI company, according to some analysts and some social media influencers, is getting another AI contract, this time with PwC. Our good friend, Gandalf, also known as CodeStrap, one of the OGs of the Palantir community, is actually employed by PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers, one of the competitors of my former employer, Deloitte, where I used to be a senior manager for over a decade. Nevertheless, it's still a great company. So PwC is expanding their partnership with Palantir Foundry, with AIP. They're a huge consultancy. Look, I worked for 10 years in this industry. I know exactly how PwC work. They're an octopus. They take over everything. They consult about everything. And the minute you don't notice this, they're everywhere in your business, making money off of everything you do, but they're making you more money. So it actually makes sense. So massive, massive, massive update. But that's not the main point of news today. We have to talk about this insane Bloomberg article that came out yesterday. And I waited a whole day for a reason. Of course, all the little cloud chasers. Oh my God, I have to get a video out today, right away. It just got announced. Hold up a second. I went through my sources. I went through everything I've seen online to vet whether what Bloomberg is saying is correct or not. And I'm excited to tell you, I haven't found evidence to contradict what Bloomberg is saying. I spent the whole 24 hours doing it. And I know it's going to cost me views because all the little fish in the pond already made their little videos. But now this is the big time. So no evidence that Bloomberg is bullshitting. Now, I don't have evidence to confirm what they're saying. But with the rest in peace of that Soros thing that's no longer on social media, I don't want to mention any names. And with the recent article from Bloomberg, we have a reason to believe that NHS, that $600 million deal, is pretty much a done deal. It's done. It's settled. It's not been announced yet. So the only thing that's missing from the NHS deal is the public announcement. Now, I haven't found anything to contradict this, but look, Bloomberg is legit enough to trust that alone. I'll give him that. But usually where there's bullshit, you can always find little traces of where this came from. This time, can't find it. Now, look, at the end of the day, right? Until we signed, we're kings. This is what my dad told me. My dad always told me, look, until you signed, you're king. What does it mean? What means that until it came out and was publicly announced, you get to buy more Palantir stock if you believe, indeed, that this is true or not, right? Because the minute it's going to get announced, obviously, you know that the share price is going to reflect that. But then again, if you're a long-term shareholder like myself, you couldn't care less. Just have some popcorn and enjoy the show. Now, why is this important? And why do I think this is indeed the case? Why do I think the NHS deal is happening? So I'm a realist, right? Whenever I see two people or two organizations or two entities trying to work out a deal, I always look at the leverage, right? Who needs the deal more, right? Unfortunately for the NHS, and I have lots of love for my viewers from the UK, the NHS is in such a state of disarray, is in such dire straits. Their system needs Palantir more, much more than Palantir needs that 500 million of revenue. Obviously, it's nice to have. Nobody's going to say no to that $580 million of revenue over the course of whatever years that's going to take. But Palantir is over $2 billion of revenue as it is. They're ramping up. They're adding clients. They need that deal. They would love to have it for reasons I'll explain in a second. But at the end of the day, NHS needs Palantir more than Palantir needs NHS. And unfortunately for the NHS, there's no other competitors out there. There's no alternatives. So it's a very binary game for the NHS. They either let their system go obsolete and continue to be in a state of disarray, complete, absolute chaos, or they let Palantir take a crack at it and try to fix it. Either or. There's no third or fourth competitor that's going to outbid Palantir here. It's very, very simple. In this kind of state of affairs, with everything that's going on right now in the UK, unfortunately, I don't see how this deal does not happen. Politically, economically, from a human perspective, there's been a lot of noise in the UK about Palantir, trading people's data and shit, which is absolute horse shit. Saying that Palantir wants your data and trades your data, it's literally the opposite of the business model. Palantir has built their business model, just so you know, the haters, on the fact that it offers the best data security of its clients. It doesn't mine data. It doesn't try to collect data. And it sure as hell is not trading your data. Their whole business model built on secrecy and not letting your data leak out of your organization. Just so you know that, you little haters out there. The problem with this deal for the NHS, right, that it creates a lot of backlash because of the perceived notions about Palantir that are running around there because of irresponsible things that people have no idea what they're talking about or saying. I wanted to say that name so bad, but I won't because I'm going to keep it clean today. How about that? I mentioned my dad in the beginning at the hospital. I want to keep a good vibe. But look, Palantir needs this contract for a whole set of reasons that has nothing to do with that 600 million, which they would love to collect, right? But that's not the point. The point here is proof of concept. Much like Airbus and Skywise served as a proof of concept for the rest of the industry, that Palantir can come in and do these wonderful things to your business. This is a proof of concept for governments that Palantir can come in and clean up and absolutely revolutionize and modernize their healthcare IT systems, and not just healthcare, complete governmental IT overhauls. Massive pipelines to a barrage of government work is going to come in if Palantir manages to pull NHS from the shithole it's stuck in. Which is, by the way, no guarantees here that they can do it, but I think they can. That's just my 2 cents about it. So in between the NHS deal being a done deal according to insiders, according to Bloomberg, in between the new PwC deal, in between the Accenture existing deal, in between the $250 million deal we just heard last week from the US Department of Defense, in between the S&P 500 inclusion, the $2 billion of annual revenues they're about to hit, the GAAP profitability for 4 quarters, the $400 million in free cash flow, the zero debt, the $3 billion in cash and cash equivalents, the 80% gross margin, and the 15% in institutional shareholding over the past quarter. I mean,